A century ago, 21 delegates assembled in a small mountain home in the community of Camp Creek, North Carolina. January 26th and 27th, 1906, fell on a Friday and Saturday. An approaching winter storm did not dishearten the delegates who had come to do business for the church. And today, we remember and honor them for their vision and faithfulness. Those 21 delegates represented at least 4 congregations known at the time as Holiness Churches: Drygo and Union Grove in Tennessee, Jones in Georgia, and the local Camp Creek congregation. J.C. and Melissa Murphy hosted the meeting. As a member of the Shearer family, Melissa had come to own this house at the passing of her first husband. The Shearer family had provided the land for the nearby Shearer Schoolhouse, which had been the site of a great revival in 1896. During that revival, many were convinced of sanctification as a second work of grace. As a result, they were expelled from their churches and forced to meet in homes and roughly constructed log meeting houses. One of those places of worship was built across the road from the schoolhouse. There, the fires of revival burned brightly, and soon many experienced the baptism of the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues and divine healing. But along with revival came persecution. Their opponents dismantled the makeshift house of worship in order to burn the logs. W.F. Bryant lived just a short distance away, working to hold the believers together. He eventually heeded the advice of R.G. Sperling and organized the Holiness Church in his home in 1902. The next year, their friend and co-laborer, A.J. Tomlinson, joined them. They immediately selected him as pastor, and he helped them expand their vision beyond the hills and valleys of the Unicoi Mountains. In our earliest history, we read that near the close of 1905, the work had so prospered that there began to be a demand for a general gathering together of members from all the churches to consider questions of importance and to search the Bible for additional light and knowledge. Accordingly, arrangements were made and the meeting called. The importance of that first assembly cannot be underestimated. It was a significant step away from congregational church government and toward a centralized model. Particularly important was the precedent they set for decision-making. They searched the Scriptures and sought the will of God. They allowed issues to be debated and differing voices to be heard. They believed they had biblical examples for what they were accomplishing, and they saw themselves as following the model of the Jerusalem Council in Acts 15. The snowstorm that had been threatening their meeting arrived before they could adjourn for their respective homes on Saturday evening. It made tending the fire more difficult and travel more treacherous. But their hearts were undoubtedly warmed by the fellowship they had shared, by the tears they had shed, by their sense of accomplishment, and most of all, by the presence of the Holy Spirit. Tomlinson wrote that the meeting was characterized by their love for one another and by their unity. Certainly the year ahead of them would be difficult, but they were convinced that they had obeyed God. They would work harder than ever before to reach the harvest, and if God allowed, they would meet again as the General Assembly.